What's going on, Soul Tribe? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and bringing another little nugget to add to the Soul Tribe archive. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Mercury in Aquarius in the fourth house. And this is a pretty dope placement, I think, for Mercury to be in. Now, when you talk about Mercury, that's going to be one of the things that Mercury covers is our communication. Mercury is how we can think and understand. Mercury can even deal with kind of like practical wisdom and yeah, just kind of knowledge in general. But there's an oracular side of Mercury as well, being so close to the sun, to be able to take those spiritual insights to give them form. There's an or to express those ideas. There's a real innovation and curiosity that comes with when you think about Mercury, and like the sign will let you know how it's fueled. It's really really cool when you're working with your Mercury placement. And then when you think about Aquarius, Aquarius is traditionally ruled by Saturn, and they are the fixed air sign, and they're masculine or yang in nature. And I find that Aquarius really is, I like to talk, and this is just Aquarius energy in general, the visionaries, especially when you think about Saturn as their traditional ruler. There's this, Saturn, of course, brings that discipline, those restraints, constrictions, patience, and just kind of just hard work, heaviness sometimes. But Saturn also gives things form, gives things structure. And so with this is literally being able to take the idea and crystallize that, to be able to connect the dots. And Aquarius is I find a very social sign, being one of the air signs, and has this ability to connect with others, to build groups, to and I find, again, to be able to see things of the vision, the future, in a way that others can't, maybe in the immediate. So there's this strength in the mind that comes with Aquarius. That's really brilliance. That really one of the words that really kind of comes up with that sign. And then you talk about the fourth house. The fourth house in traditional astrology was known as the subterranean place, and this is one of the angular houses. This is going to be an important place because this is where the IC lives, the Imam Coeli. And so any sort of transits or things like that to those points are usually very potent ones, especially when you got planets here too. But some of the themes that the fourth house covers is actually the house of the home. And this is like your household goods. This could be even like your homeland, property, land, things along those lines, real estate. But this also too is just like, thinking about a home always has foundations. And this is not just that home foundation, but this is the house too of just like your foundation of who you are, the things that you're trying to build, the things that you're aiming for in life here, that kind of build upon there. And this also too is the house of like the parents, either your parents or you as a parent. That's another thing that comes up with this house. Ancestors is another thing that comes up when you think about the fourth house. So when you're working with this placement, a couple of things to consider. You'd have a Scorpio rising by whole sign, and you're going to want to look to Saturn, because Saturn is going to be responsible for this house and your third house, which is like your house of siblings, relatives, families, immediate environment, short-term travels, communication, things along those lines. And then Mercury is going to be responsible for your 11th house, of which is like your hopes, dreams, aspirations, patrons, benefactors, friends, groups, associations, and of your 8th house, which covers topics of like death, inheritances, shared resources, and mortality, things occult. Even there's some occult practice in their spiritual side in that house as well. So some things that I would talk about if the person was just kind of exploring this placement here is a real kind of important thing, like what are your dreams? What are the things that what do you see yourself building? What is it that you want to accomplish? And that's going to be something where there may be a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of tension, but that's going to be a real kind of constant theme, because that Mercury just by whole sign is going to be squaring your ascendant. So there's going to be this call to like building upon oneself. And again, considering Mercury rules that 11th house, it's like, okay, who are the people that I need to be associated with? What are the groups that I need to be involved with? Really keeping that focus. But it's also not just about just all the things that how you're going to receive, but it's like, what are you giving in order to receive these things? When we talk about that eighth house, what are you leaving behind? And this could be too, you're thinking about that in a number of spheres, just as your, maybe your career. But let's go to, we'll talk about you as a parent. That could be something too where you're thinking about, I think when you go to get that vision, just making sure like what will I be sharing with this little person here, and thinking about what did I receive from that, and what are some things that I want to carry forward, and what are some things that I maybe want to cut out completely. This could be a sign where very maybe, I find Mercury in Aquarius, I think that's a very unique thinker, and so you may find yourself, hopefully that's something that was fostered in the home space, that unique mind to be able to think outside of the box, just to destroy the box altogether and just build something, just to be able to just be to express oneself. Hopefully that was something that was there. But if not, there could be something that you can correct. Again, you can kind of look to, and I would explore that too. Look down the kind of the ancestral lines. Look at what are some themes that maybe have been kind of carrying over, and you may even find some inspirations there too. Some things that maybe didn't get taken to fruition that you're just like, oh my gosh, like I come from a line of like, maybe like house builders or something like that, like land, like maybe like farmers, whatever that might look like. But maybe you want to cultivate that. But I would say too, this would be a great placement for being intimately involved, having some sort of skill, whether maybe you do like plumbing or maybe carpentry, maybe my parents, we had a guy, he would fix all these stuff for us and provide these different things, and it just really kind of hook us up, and you could be that guy or girl. This isn't a gender specific reading, but this is something where I think that you could find yourself, that could really pay off. That could be just like a side gig. Maybe you find yourself doing something in construction. Architecture comes to mind, where you're working with some sort of blueprints, interior design. Maybe you work with doors. Maybe you work with windows. Maybe you work with roofing. Whatever that looks like. I think that there could be something even there in that aspect there. But you may find yourself too, thinking about just like where you want to live. That may be another thing too. Does my homeland and things support the dreams that I want to do? Does my neighborhood, my immediate environments, that's something that's promoting the growth that I want to. So that could be even another thing that can come up for you there. And one sort of last thing that one sort of last thing that I want to talk about here with this placement is that on that occult side, considering that Mercury is in charge of that house, I think that, and of course responsibly look into the definitely like safe practices and things, but there could be something where you maybe can call on sort of like that sort of like real spiritual kind of like calling on ancestors and things like that, to being able to communicate with spirits and things in that realm. So playing around in the occult, and getting curious about what that might look like for you. But I also think too, just thinking with that eighth house, and one other last thing, just if there are any sort of like stressors or behind the future, or what you're building, how whatever that might look like, maybe there's some tough aspects to Mercury, making sure to share that, and being able to having someone that you trust enough to get down to the roots of things, of ways of thinking, because that Mercury in Aquarius, I find it could be with fixed energy, there is a capacity for stubbornness in all of them. So I have a lot of fixed placement just in general. So it's like, I know how that can be. So that's just I got a Mercury in a fixed sign. So that's just something to pay attention to as well. But again, these are just some very general things that I would talk about with someone here. You definitely need the whole chart to get a better picture of how that story translates. And I would love to, if you have this placement or know someone who's working with this placement, down in the description box, leave a comment. Let us know what form that's manifested in. And if you want to work, let's say you're curious about astrology, want to get to know your chart, or want to just learn about the transits and things more personally, get in touch with your cycle and things, more in tune with oneself. In the description box, there's a link to get in touch. Get in touch with me, and yeah, talk about the services that I provide, and we go from there. Look at that, you made a friend. And then, if you want to just kind of follow the transits, I do on this channel too. I do weekly transits talking about what signs the planets are in, so you know what house to look in, and how to how to work with these energies, or what intentions to set with them. And then, if you want to work with the moon, there is a link for my other channel, The Chariot and Friends, where I release videos every time the moon changes signs, and talk about what phase she's in and when she's going void of course, and do an I Ching and a tarot reading in there as well. So all sorts of mysticism for you. There's some occult stuff to study. But until next time, stay mindful out there. Keep raising that vibration through the roof, and I will catch you on the next one. Later.